All right. Welcome. All right, everybody. This is Sovereign Sobriety Podcast. This is episode 2. And I have a very special guest, Amber McFadden. And I'd like to welcome you with a warm heart and really grateful that you are here.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. I think that the two of us with our energy might explode some frequencies and change some lives. I don't know. I feel like it.
I love it.
Yeah, super powerful. Do you want to tell everybody where you're from, like where you live, any just important information, like your mom or your whatever, just the basics?
Absolutely. I love it. Love it. Love it. So, hi, everyone. I'm Amber. I live in a small town just about an hour north of Pittsburgh called Butler, Pennsylvania. I have been here pretty much my whole life. I'm born and raised. It's a nice small town with a lot of heart and a big community here. So I opened Amber Waves almost 2 years ago. It was kind of a bold move for a small town, but I knew that my energy was needed here. And it is almost 2 years and we're thriving and creating these ripples and just really collectively bringing people together through movement, through sound, through yoga.
Awesome.
Yeah, both of my parents are in addiction. And yes, well, my mom is recovered, and she actually does not live here anymore. She changed people, places, and things pretty quickly for her.
Okay.
So she's been clean for 10 plus years, and she lives across the country, and she's doing really well, thriving. And then my dad is actively in addiction here, which is challenging. I think that's kind of like how I got into wanting to really help people in that aspect of my abilities to help people. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to kind of talk about them, but hey,
wow.
I mean, exactly. You said your mom and dad. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, well, I was meaning, like, are you a mom? So that's interesting. Like, are you a mom? Are you married? But there's no accidents, no coincidences. So now we know your history, and why you show up as you do, such a strong force to help people. Which and I just share that this is the first time, everybody, that we've actually really talked. We've only chatted, but I'll share a little bit like how I feel about you. I remember I connected through buti yoga. We are buti sattvas, and every now and again I would share something on my timeline, and you would just sprinkle so much cool energy and love and support, through my journey. And you just not even knowing me, but just being that light. I'll never forget that.
Girl, thank you.
How that made an impact for me. I'm like, who the hell is this person? Doesn't even know me. And so I am grateful for people like you.
Oh, thanks, girl.
Yeah.
I feel like buti, not to interrupt you, but I feel like with the buti community, we are so I know people are always like, well, it's just a practice, whatnot. But we are so interwoven to each other through the alchemical process of the movement. And as being a teacher, I feel like my buti teachers across the land, we are on the same wavelength. I just got full body chills. So I feel like if you are a buti teacher, we are family.
Right?
We are family. You are my sister, and for sure.
Isn't that? I know, that's wild. That's just
all the bodhisattvas that I've met along my journey. I'm like, girl, what's up? Like, I don't even know you, but like, we know you.
It's just like a given. It's like secret code or something.
It's a rite of passage for sure.
Right. Like if you're down with this, like I'm down with this, then we must be down with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hilarious. So when we talk about, you already like swooped in to already talk about addiction. So is there, like, I know you mentioned, that you also went through your struggles with that. What was your rock bottom or your journey like through addiction to get to like today?
Yeah, it's so really powerful for me to share because I haven't like really openly shared. Like I have openly shared with people like that are close to me, but not like on a broader like platform. And we are coming up on Scorpio season, which is 2 seasons away, but that's whenever I decided to like fully detox and get off of drugs. Like I did it in the darkest season of the year.
I was like, that's an interesting way to pick a date.
Yeah, I always like do things the hardest way.
So like around the holidays, like right before the holidays, and I had the opposite thing. In my mind, I was going to do it like in October, and then I was like, no way can I do this before the holidays. And so my date is January 1st.
So like segue into it all, like I'll just give you like the broad like kind of journey. So like in 2012, I was in a bad car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver. My son, my husband, and I were in the car. We were hit from behind. The guy that hit us did not have lights on, so we didn't see him coming. I did not have my seatbelt on. They did. And my son was in a forward facing at that point. So he was like 2. And I actually was like turned around to like calm him down. And I got flung all through my car. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Like we're all super grateful. Like it could have been so much worse, but that was like kind of the kicker into my pill addiction. I was obviously like, I had a neck injury, nothing like horrible, just superficial, but that was like really the heart of like the opioid crisis, that time frame. And that was when doctors were writing oxys like it was candy. And I was given a big prescription and quickly started to feel good, started to feel better. I was a young mom. I had a 2-year-old. It was like that, that Rolling Stones song, like Mama's Little Helper. It was literally like a gift that I didn't really even knew that I needed. And, coming from a family of addiction, like my mom and my dad, even my brother, like, I saw him go through it. I had a boyfriend who was on heroin. Like it was always in my face. And I never, ever, ever thought that I would ever like journey down that path. Like never, ever. I was like, not me.
So up until like you taking the, I guess, pain meds, right? For pain, you were not in any kind of addiction.
No, I never, but I was like, I was always surrounded by it, like with my parents growing up, with my brother, with my boyfriend, like with my cousin, like it was always around me, like a small town. I had a lot of friends, like, not like anything crazy. Like I never ever, I partied, but not like that. Like this quickly became an addiction very fast, very fast.
And, I've heard in like meetings, that happens to a lot of people from,
I don't know,
from injuries.
I don't know if you ever saw that Netflix documentary that's out now. It's called Painkiller. It is.
Oh no.
I definitely recommend watching it, but make sure you're in the right headspace for it because it's really basically what happened to me. Like not as in depth, but like that was the start of it. And then it snowballed to the fact where like, I was relying on this and then it was like, like I asked for more, you ask for more, you want a higher dose. Like this isn't working. You just become like more, dependent on it. And then the doctors are like, no, we're not gonna, we got to cut you off. Like, we can't keep giving you these prescriptions. Went from 120 to 0. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
it's fine.
But then they refer you to a Suboxone doctor, the same exact doctor that wrote an opioid prescription, referring to a Suboxone doctor
to get off of it.
Yeah. But I didn't go that route right away. I did end up getting on Suboxone like later, but I went through about 2.5 years of like buying pills on the street, meeting people, getting ripped off, like this whole hustle fucking bustle of like, and I was so functioning. Like, I was so high functioning. I had my shit on lockdown. Like, I had a full-time job and I was a mom, and it was literally mother's little helper. And I had money. Like, I was working, and I had the funds to like support my habit without it being detrimental. And it was really functioning until it wasn't,
Yeah. Right. Well, what was the point of wasn't? Where did you bottom out? Because I feel like we all have to have that. Maybe like I had a couple, but like the final one was
a couple. There was a couple moments. Oh God, it kind of makes my stomach turn to think about it. It's like those moments where it's like, was that even me?
Right.
No, it wasn't. It was a version of myself that I had walked through, but it wasn't actually me. There was a few moments. One in particular where this girl, I was buying shit off of her, and it was like, I needed it because I had to go to work, and I was at that point where I was gonna be sick. Supply was running low, and I had to keep up my job. And I actually had to call off work. I actually took my son to my in-laws. I was like, I didn't tell my husband what was going on. Like, he knew, but not to the depths of it. And I met this girl, and then she fucking ripped me off and then threatened to call the place that I was working at and tell them that I was on drugs. If I tried to like pursue anything with her. She ripped me off for $350.
$350. Wow.
Yeah, it was a big chunk of money. And then she
blackmailed you.
She threatened me and blackmailed me. And I was so fucking worried that people were going to find out. It was so hard for me to people weren't going to find out. And then looking at pictures of myself back then too, like I was so thin and like, just like, I looked so unhealthy. Yeah. And it was rough. And then it was like the point where I was like, okay, I wanted to go on vacation with my family. That was another like point where my husband was like talking about going on vacation. I was like, well, how could I smuggle 120 Percocets? I was like, and I was fucking Googling, is it safe to swallow pills in a balloon? And I was like, Amber, what is going on with you? Like, I need help. Like, I knew I was like, I got to get some help, but how do I get help and still manage to hold down my life? Yeah. Like, I can't just like leave and go to nobody really even knew. I kept it very few people knew. Right. I kept it really on lockdown, very Taurus of me. And so one of my really good friends, God rest his soul, Danny, he unfortunately just overdosed and did not make it just recently. He was a really, really good friend of mine, and he was the first person that I told, and he really helped me to get to Dr. Lloyd. Wow. And Dr. Lloyd was the Suboxone doctor who really helped me for the next 5 years. Oh, wow. So I was on it for 5 years, and I did not want to be on it that long, but I was, and it really did give me my life back. And honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this shit if I wouldn't have chose that path. It was a life-saving path for me. I know it's not for everybody, but I went into it as I can't sustain my addiction anymore. This is at least yes, there's like a lot of controversial with the Suboxone. It is a replacement therapy, but this is going to replace it until I can like cognitively understand and get the healing process underway. It was like a stepping stone for me.
Right. Yeah. You got to do what you're guided to and what works.
Yeah. And Dr. Lloyd was incredible. He was okay. So like Danny got me. Just tell me if you need me to like go in a different direction at any point. But like, so Danny.
No, it's good for people to hear like experience, and because your story, somebody might completely relate to it.
Yeah. So Danny, you know, and every time I think about him, I just like get really choked up. No, it's
that's hard. I mean,
the reality of this is that like some of us aren't going to make it. I mean, all of us aren't going to make it out alive, but like some of us unfortunately are going to be a victim to our addiction.
Yeah.
And my friend Danny,
every day it happens.
He was the strongest motherfucker too. Like he fought so hard. He had big periods of clean time and then he didn't. And then it was just, you know, how it just, unfortunately, you know, he didn't make it, but he also really helped me on my path.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful because like,
he's always with you though, you know, he's always with you.
Yeah, he is.
He's with you right now. He's like, look at her go. She's crushing it. She's telling the story.
Yeah.
I helped her. you know, like did. What a blessing.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely like, good job, you know. He's proud. And he's with you.
Yeah, for sure. I actually have a lot of friends that are on the other side from it too. I mean,
wow.
my cousin too, he's been gone for about 6 years now, I think. You lose time. Yeah, he was 27, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he was and truly like segue into that, like he's what kind of got me into working with Hope is Dope, like into recovery. Like after I had gone through like my Suboxone therapy and got clean off of that, then my cousin passed and he kind of like geared me another direction into this like work. So but like with the Suboxone, Dr. Lloyd was an incredible person. And he was really hard on me when I walked in there. He was like, his approach was very aggressive because I feel like small town, he gets a lot of people that just come in here and don't want to like, they just want to like not actually do the work. Well, I was not that person. I wanted to like really get help. So it took a while for him to like trust me. We built this relationship and then, 2-3 years in, I quit smoking cigarettes. And that was the first part of it. Like that was real hard to break that. I started practicing yoga full time and I was like, I'm smoking cigarettes. I can't do yoga. I'm doing this. I'm trying to like get rid of all these like unhealthy traits. And really like yoga is what really brought me out of that. Like, I was like, I obviously can't like, do like all these things. And then I'm like choking up because I can't breathe. Stop smoking. That was the first start of it.
Okay. Hey, he helps. That's it. Like with anything, it's gotta be baby steps, one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely.
It doesn't all come at once. Like
it is so layered.
No miracle, like drug gets you clean or sober. Like it doesn't happen like that. You have to be, like you said, like that's why he was so tough, because he was probably so sick of people like, coming in, coming out. They don't like do the work, and that's hard to spend so much time with somebody and then they go back out. It's like, damn.
I feel like he was a little jaded too. I mean, he's still in practice. Like he's still in practice. I still see him all the time. He always says I'm like his golden fucking child, whatever. But like,
what does he call you?
His golden child, because I actually like made it on the other side. Like, I mean, obviously it's always work. But I actually like we do recover. Like we do recover.
That is what it's all about.
We do recover. We can thrive. We can live these like beautiful lives. Like we can overcome a lot. And
that's the bottom line.
It's such a huge, people need to know, especially when you're like in it, like, and especially when you start to peel the layers, like, it is so layered. So like,
It is so layered.
when I was in it, like first it was getting off the pills, then substituting the Suboxone, and then it was the cigarettes. And then it was like, okay, I had a date in mind. I started weaning off a year before. Like I weaned for a whole year, got myself down to 1 milligram every day. That 1 milligram was so hard to get off of. Like,
wow.
I planned everything. I was still working my full-time job. I took a 2-week vacation. Made sure my son was like taken care of by my in-laws. My husband knew the whole process. He was super supportive of everything. And then like we decided that we were going to do it in Scorpio season. Dr. Lloyd wrote me the comfort medication. I had I had a lot of support, and I started to tell my close friends, this is what I'm going to do. And they like had no idea that
wow. Right. It's kind of crazy, because looking back at it, I'm like, I'm sure everyone knew it. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know.
Right.
I think what you're saying too, if you don't mind me interrupting, is
please,
that
yes.
I think it's also you said, you had it planned out, like you were planning it out. You set the date, like it was all very like structured to get to like your goal. And I failed. I relapsed 2 times. The last time I had it planned out. You know what I mean? Like strategically in my mind, I was mentally setting myself up for that January 1st. Like I had it planned out. And I think that's something people should take note of, because I think that works like really well.
I mean,
like you can't just get like all crazed, messed up, go down like a dark hole and then think, oh, I got to get clean. And it's just going to magically happen overnight. I don't think it doesn't work. That's not really feasible. Like our mind is really powerful. And also our habits are very powerful. And to get off of and change a habit, it's, like they say, like it takes like 21 days to make a habit. So it's like, you're not going to get clean overnight or sober overnight.
Yeah.
So I think that I like how, you did the same thing. Like I did too. I planned it out because I kept failing.
Yeah, so. I feel like when like you said, our minds are really powerful. I feel like having kind of like obviously things are going to happen, but like having somewhat of a guide or like a roadmap or just like a list of like the goals and like how you want to achieve it. Like actually, like I wrote it out, put it on paper, talked with my team, like my people, and I feel like I do that with everything now. Like if I have to if I need to like, if there's something like that I bump up against, resistance things, I'm like, okay, how can I move through this? I write a list, I write it out. Like, what am I feeling? How can I move past this? Like it was a barrier. And like, really truly our minds are so powerful. If you set your mind to it, you can fucking do it. You may fail though, like too. And like some like expectations, like you may it may not like look the way that you think it's going to, but like coming up with a good solid plan is really helpful for sure. But that's not always something that you can do when you're in it. Like when you're in active addiction, you can't like, sometimes you can't
make a plan.
You can't make a fucking plan. You're just like, I need to feel good. Like, So I was really grateful that that's how my journey was. It was a short blip within my life. I mean, I think grand total, like the whole was about 7-ish years of like, of struggling, but not to the point where it was like, it wasn't, just witnessing like my dad and my cousin and my brother and other people, like it's like it could have been a lot worse, and I'm grateful it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Do you want to share a little bit about like how you help the recovery community today specifically? Because I thought that's actually how we got to this point where that came up.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it so much. I'm so grateful. I'm like, it's so like I said, like with my cousin when he passed and shortly after I got off of Suboxone, you know, I felt so raw and vulnerable. Went to my yoga teacher training 6 months in where I was clean and in raw and was really held by the community. That's kind of how I got into buti. And then I wanted to teach, but I wasn't sure exactly like how to do that. You know, I met one of my teachers, Alicia, who is from Pittsburgh. She also is in recovery, and like we kind of like crossed paths briefly, like, and like her people kind of intertwined with my people, and I met this other person who was creating this group in Butler called Hope is Dope. And I started to get involved with them, teaching just like meditation and yoga and like a little bit of like, you know, essential oils. And so this group met once. They do like endorphin producing activities. So they have all these different teachers that come in and they have this group, this co-org where these people come through and they have to be screened. Like it's the kind of a process to get into it. It's not like open like AA or NA.
Right. This is the Hope is Dope.
Yeah. Hope is Dope. Yep. Yep. And so I got involved with them, teaching with them for quite a bit, a couple years. And then once I opened my studio, I kind of got away from that work. And then it just recently came back around in May. Okay. So I started working at the Geyser Center, which is it's a halfway point. So we don't actually have like physical active detox there. It's most people that are there coming from jail or drug court. And they are they're choosing to be there, like it's a choice, or
okay.
So it's
they
like
want help.
Yeah. So they've already done their detox.
Yeah. Right.
Once they get there. So it's kind of like a middle ground before they would decide to go to a halfway house, right, 3/4 house, or home. Some people do go home. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people unfortunately go back to jail. But so where I am, I come in on Thursdays and I teach yoga, sound, and movement with them. I start with the men in the morning. It has honestly been like just because there was like a blip of time where I really wasn't involved in recovery and addiction. And, you know, I'm like doing my thing with the studio, kind of like moving forward. It came back around and it really reminded me why I decided to do this in the first place.
Which is beautiful.
It gives me so much. And I'm like, I feel like I can express and share with them my story without judgment, which is not always easy for me to do. Like it's hard, it's challenging for me to like talk about this stuff because I just felt like, you know, there's a lot of shame around it, you know. So like with them, I'm like,
that helps you though, talk about it.
Helps me. So like I tell them all the time, I'm like, you guys are helping me,
right?
I know, as much as I'm helping you. So like, totally, the energy exchange is so great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like the morning we do like a big group meditation, and I do sound healing. That's one of the biggest things that I like kind of got into with my own addiction and with the Hope is Dope. And this, like the sound healing I found was really effective for us. Because it's such an instant kind of gratification and you feel it so deeply within your body. So I use the sound bowls and sound healing with them. We do meditation. Then we have like gentle yoga. And then the last class that I have with the guys, they like want me to kick their ass. They're like, give me all the chaturungas. And like they want to
build strength. Feel stronger. Yeah. So you're there all day just doing different types of healing modalities for different, I guess, groups.
Yeah, so I have the morning with the guys. Cool. I have 3 groups that I work with the men. And then I have like a 45-minute break in between. And then I work with the women in the latter half of the day. And the women, we kind of like it's like a similar setup, but we do, I do a lot of like journaling with them. A lot of like different, like sometimes card reading, sometimes just different like activities, like just to like help open up that barrier. I'm not a licensed therapist. I am just like, not just a yoga instructor, but like, not just, but like, it falls under, I feel like, a giant umbrella of like skills, and with me walking that path, I'm able to help share them what helped me. And it really is so good. It's so good. I love it so much.
How did you get involved with that? Did you
crazy.
apply?
No, not at all.
Up?
Not at all. Honestly, like, I was not looking for anything like externally outside of the studio, because like I'm somewhat of a one-woman show. Like, I run a business. I just started having other teachers come in and teach. We do a lot of like, I have pop-ups and different teachers come in, but like for the most part, I'm teaching like 13 to 15 classes a week, and doing all the back of the house stuff. Like, I was like, I can't really have like another job. However, as a small business owner, I'm like, I also, in this today's economy, I'm like, I need to make money. Like, I need to like be able to pay for shit. Like, cool, I get to do yoga all day, but like, I need to be able to buy the things that I need.
Yeah, exactly. You have to have money to make money.
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, I did have money at one point in my life, but I blew it on drugs. So I'm like, all right, this is your rebuild, bitch. Like, here you go.
The rebuild. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like in meditation and prayer, and like, I'm like, I need abundance. Like, how can I make more money without having to work as much as I am? And honestly, like, a friend of a friend of a friend like was like, hey, our yoga instructor, she left. She was here for like 12 years. So like, oh wow, they never hire. And she was like, I think you would be perfect for this. Do you want to come in? And I was like, first of all, I was like, no, I don't have the space. Like, I was like, no. And it kept coming back up. I was like, okay. It kept coming back up over and over again. I was like, all right, Spirit, is this really like where I'm supposed to like move?
You can't. You couldn't say no, right? Because it just kept pushing you the nudge.
And I was like, okay. So then I'm like, I went in and like checked the space out, and then I was like, oh my God, this kind of feels a little bit like so before I worked in healthcare, and I was like, this kind of feels a little bit like dabbling back in with the healthcare system. And I'm like, I was like, I don't know. And then it was like, financially, it was a really good move for me. And like, honestly, I said yes. And I was like, I'll try it for a month and see how it goes. But I'm so grateful that I like just pushed past the barrier of fear. And now I get to help people, and I get to give them this like hope that like, okay, maybe I didn't go to prison, thank God. Right. I have been in your shoes where I was addicted to a drug and could not live my life without it. And I overcame that, and now I'm fucking thriving. So we do recover. Like, please don't lose hope. It's so
I love
great.
that. We do. I love that.
We all do.
I love that. Yeah.
I tell them that openly and honestly. And like a lot of them, at first I wasn't super open. I was just like, I'm Amber, I'm a studio. But then like my heart kept getting cracked open. It was like, here it is, like, Amber, you need to share this part of yourself, because we do share and we do heal deeper when we like allow that vulnerability. So it was like,
I mean, that's kind of really the bottom line. When we recover, it's like you have to share your experience, strength, and hope, because that shows others, like you just said, you can recover. We do recover. Yeah. And that's, that's the bottom line, is I feel like you're just never stuck. You're never stuck. You're never stuck.
Yeah, no, we're not. We have control. We can shift and change and mold however we need to. Like, it's just, sometimes we're human. And I always tell my students too all the time, like, being a human is real fucking hard. Yeah. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard sometimes.
It really, like, I know.
Some beautiful moments, but like sometimes it's really challenging.
Hard. Yeah.
Especially when you're not under the influence of things, to like dim all that.
Oh, right. Yeah. People
like,
Yeah. People are like who are in active addiction, they're really just like checking out because they don't want to deal with reality and feel the feels and do the work that's needed and necessary to get through it. So but life is so much better, right?
So much better.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
oh my, yeah. Look at that smile. Like we're both like beaming with smiles because it's like
so much better. Yeah. We're not here to numb it. We're here to feel it all. Like,
right.
we're here to feel it all.
Yeah.
And like, it will crack you open in the most beautiful ways if you allow
right.
it.
And I think that's also the beauty of like what we do, you know, like as healers and different modalities is, you know, it's like we help people like move through it and manage it. I'm going to say not deal with it, but manage it.
Yeah.
Learn how to manage it.
Navigate. Yeah. Navigate through the waters. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like helping people move their body is so good. I mean, like, when I started moving my body that way, like and I know there was a lot of times I would just roll out my yoga mat and lay on it and cry. Like I couldn't move because I was in pain, but like, you know, just the yoga practice in general, like it shows up for you too. Like just showing up on the mat, stepping on it, even if your movement is small, tiny, whatever.
I know, right? See, people are so intimidated, but literally, like, that's what I really feel like you could get your money's worth for a class if you literally just show up, even if you just sit on your mat and you just hold that space and the energy and you're taking it all in. That is worth that money. Like, I don't care if you don't move your body, like, come have a seat, chill, F out, and you're going to walk out being like, whoa, that was lit. That was awesome. I feel so good. You know, it's like,
oh, totally. Absolutely.
It's like totally not intimidating. I think people are so intimidated. I don't freaking care. Just take child pose, chill out, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So,
it's
super powerful.
I always tell my students that, like, you do not, I mean, I'm probably going to be taking it to the highest expression, but you do not have to be there. Like, you do not need to you do what you need to do. But you're right. Just laying on your mat, like just having that support system. Like that was really my biggest tool to navigate through was my yoga practice. Like I love that. Yeah. That was a huge tool.
Yeah. I love that. I think you have to go. I think you.
12 o'clock is my like deadline. I can give you like 5 more minutes if you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the time and I'm like, with 3 minutes.
I can give you 5 more minutes. I don't have to be there right at noon.
Okay. But okay. I mean, I think, you know, it's like, I loved how we just kind of navigated through it and didn't have questions and it just flowed. And right out of the gate, you already told us like what your, you know, family history was, which is, I think, really important for people because we tend to take on like a lot of what we grew up with, consciously or not. So, just, you know, to be aware that, you know, you're never stuck in anything, and whatever habits or things that you've brought on, you can always change if it doesn't serve you. So I think, you know, that's the, you know, you and I both have shown up to be is, you know, we do change, we can heal, we can grow, we can bust through any of the barriers that once existed and really shine, right, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so if there anything, as we wrap up, let's first have you share anything that you want to share with people. How can they get in touch with you? You know, any specifics that you want to give maybe to even like, well, online, you know, out there in the world, but any specifics to, you know, local or even whatever. How do we contact you, find you? Where are you? All the things.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this. Again, too, like it is equally healing for me to share my story and how I've just been doing my thing over here in my little corner of the world. So you can follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on my socials. Amber.waves, YSM, which is yoga, sound, and movement. And if you are in the Pittsburgh area, you can definitely like check in with Hope is Dope. We have a couple different areas that our organization like practices in Lawrence County and Butler County. The Geyser Center has a lot of different resources. I can send you some links after too, just in case people need.
I can put them in people.
If people need
send me all your stuff. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because if people need to need help too, especially in the Pittsburgh area, Allegheny County, that's where the Geyser Center really comes in and helps people. So I would love to be able to give those links if there's anybody. Karen, definitely. I didn't even ask you where you were located at. Like, I have no idea. We're on the universal plane.
Yeah. I'm on like that, like spiritual time, no time. It all just works out. I don't know. I'm in South Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, cool. So we are like pretty close, actually.
I was wondering about that because then when you said Pittsburgh, I was like, oh, I think Pittsburgh's kind of far.
Well, so like I actually have
5 hours away from me. I don't know.
Yeah, I have some actually friends, Bodhisattvas in Jersey too. It's about 5-6 hours.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So I mean, not that far though. I mean,
not that far. No, we're in the same time zone. So
yeah, very cool. Yeah. Thank you so much. Again,
let's see, we can maybe meet in New York City. Is that a middle place? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. To do that. That would be so fun. I've never been to New York City. Always wanted to go there. Yeah.
Oh, you've never been?
Never been. Yeah. I always wanted to go. Yeah. My son and I maybe someday we'll go. Yeah. For right now, we're just doing our thing.
My son was actually born in New York City, which is like crazy.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Again, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any last, this is what my other guy, from I Kiss Alcohol Goodbye. He used to ask his guests, and he was my guest last week. And so I had to ask him, but, before we go, if you had 30 seconds to tell the world something before you died, what would your message be?
I love this. This is so cute. 30 seconds. I would just, enjoy it all. Like, enjoy the whole journey. Like, this whole experience. Like, enjoy it all. Enjoy it all. All of it. Enjoy it all. Awesome. It's such a ride. Yeah, it's such a ride.
Awesome. Okay. So thank you. And you guys, if you want to follow this podcast, make sure you click the follow. And I'm going to sign off for now. Can you stay on for 1 second?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you, Amber.